Thank you so very much, and welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to Lifestyle Magazine. We got a great one lined up, as usual.
As usual.
Always interesting.
Always good.
And this one, to give you an idea of sort of what it's about, I got a little story to tell you. Well, it's an experience. Once, some years ago, I took my children for a vacation down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And of course, I was showing them how Daddy could swim, and they knew how to swim, so it was a safe sort of situation. And I'm swimming out there in the ocean and, you know, backstroking and watching the children, and all of a sudden, pain.
Pain.
Pain on my arm, so excruciating, I thought a shark had taken my arm off. Now, I am serious. I mean, it hurt like somebody snapped it off.
Probably the pinch.
Pinch. Pinch. I started screaming for the children. Of course, they were my first concern.
Right.
Get out of the water! There's danger! And I'm swimming with one arm because I don't want to see the nub. I know it's a nub. I don't want to look at it. I'm swimming. Finally, I get out of the water and I feel this thing slapping up against my leg, and I realize I still have an arm.
You have an arm. That's a good thing.
The pain was excruciating, and it was nonstop. I had been stung by a huge Portuguese man-o-war jellyfish, and I want you to know...
Hurts.
They sent
Bad
me
stuff.
straight to the hospital because you could die from
it's
that.
serious.
But the point is, there was so much pain.
Pain, yeah.
Last year, headaches crippled more people than motorcycle accidents, car collisions, and industrial accidents combined. And it has caused industry to lose $50 billion due to absenteeism and medical expenses, and sufferers to lose more than $157 million on their work days.
But Clifton, headaches don't just affect grown-up people. They affect children as well as adults. And today we're going to talk about perhaps the worst kind of headaches, and that is migraines. We're going to meet Susan Olson, who grew up before our eyes as Cindy Brady on the Brady Bunch, cute as a bug, and Jackie Zeman, who stars on General Hospital.
Lovely lady.
They're awesome, and both of these ladies have suffered from migraine headaches.
And you wouldn't think so, as
No.
lovely as they are. But first, we have Patty Cabrera with a health report. Come on out, Patty.
Hello.
Well, we know you always have an interesting report, so what have you got for us today?
Some tips on prevention of skin cancer and recognizing those suspicious spots. Some of the simple ways that we can help prevent it is one, knowing your body, knowing the pattern of moles on your body. If you notice a change, immediately go get it checked out. And simple things, going into the sun, wearing an SPF at least 15 or higher, sun protection, wide-brimmed hats. I love spending time at the swap meets. I put the big hats on, tons of SPF on my face, and just really keep track of your body. It's important. They have what they say, the ABCDs of recognizing these lesions and these suspicious spots. We've got A for asymmetry. You look and see if the two sides of the spot are not even. B, the borders, if the borders of the lesion is not smooth. C, coloration, any type of discoloration you can be black, it can be brown, red, even a blue. And D, the diameter. If you notice that mole is growing, or if it's larger than the end of a pencil eraser, then you need to definitely go in and get it checked.
It could save
your life.
Yes.
And we have you to thank for it. Ladies and gentlemen, Patty Cabrera, thanks so much. Please help us welcome Susan Olson. Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello. So nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
Except you look so grown up.
Well, 30 years will do that to a person.
What's so amazing is it's like when you see you, you think Do I know you from school or something?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. In
Like
fact,
a part of the family.
Right, I think I have an altered reality because people, I think they treat me nicer because they think
Well, you're everybody's friend.
Yeah,
You feel like our
yeah.
friend.
Yeah, so it's a lot better than if I played a villain or something.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, hey, a lot of folk watched the Brady Bunch. You were on a lot of years there. But for a large part of that time, you were experiencing some pain. You had migraines as a child on the set of the Brady Bunch. How old were you when that began?
I was 11 years old, and we sort of knew what was going on because my father had suffered from migraines. And actually, the creator of the Brady Bunch, Sherwood Schwartz, he is a great migraine sufferer. And my pattern was something that's known as letdown headaches. So instead of actually missing work, I might be under stress, and whenever the stressful situation, like a season of shooting or finishing up a record album or something, whenever that was over, that's when I would get the headaches. So it's like, you're
Oh, it
under
was a
stress, you don't even
letdown.
feel it. Yes.
Through the stress, you could hang in there.
Right.
While you were on the
right.
set, you were okay.
Right,
So not
yes.
everybody could see this problem you were having.
Fortunately, I didn't hold up production, but as I got older, I got into my 20s, particularly once the hormones start doing all their wonderful tricks that they do, I became a graphic artist, and I did not have a hiatus. I did not have a shooting schedule per se. I was working 7 or 5 days a week, so my letdowns would come on the weekends, and it got to the point where I was having migraines pretty much every weekend. So
That
I
just
wouldn't
destroys your
rest.
life. How do you have a life?
You don't have a nice life, and other people don't think you're a whole lot of fun either.
No.
Yeah.
Did you have to go into like a dark room or something? Did you feel like you were losing control of your life?
I would have stroke symptoms.
Wow.
And the
Like
first
one half
time,
of your body would-
Yeah, it
would-
would begin like my tongue would go numb, and then
my.
my thumb, then my hand, then the numbness would crawl up my arm until finally my entire left side of my body was numb. And of course, the first time that
That's
happened,
scary.
I'm dying.
Yes.
And how long would these sessions last?
My migraines would go anywhere from 2 hours to 3 days. And it's mighty depressing when you wake up the second morning
And you're,
and you're
And it's
still,
still
in
there.
pain.
still there. How do these migraines affect you in your life now?
Now they're almost a non-issue because
And-
I have really, really effective treatment. We found something that works on me. It's an abortive therapy. I also take something every day to kind of prevent them, but I can take something. I take a Sumatriptan, and in 20 minutes, it's gone.
Is that an oral med?
Yes, I'm actually able, it works fast enough that I'm able to take something orally.
That's terrific.
you're
Well,
getting
I'm glad you're able to deal
better.
with that now.
Knock
and,
wood.
and the medication is working, and because it seems it never goes away, huh? You're just
There's no
always
cure.
dealing with it. No cure. When we come back, we're going to meet another woman who struggled on Hollywood set with migraines. Jackie Zeman, who plays Bobby Spencer on General Hospital. We'll be right back.
For a brighter future, just say hello.
We're back, and we're welcoming Jackie Zeman. Thank you so much for coming to be with us.
It's a pleasure.
This subject, migraines, people don't recognize how many famous as well as others suffer from this. When did you suffer migraine headaches for the first time?
You know what, I'd just like to say, Clifton, in regards to what you just said, there's 28 million people in this country. That's something that I have learned over the last few years that are affected by migraines, 18 million of which are women.
Wow.
So that is, when you, as you say, a whole lot of people.
That's
Whole
a
lot of
lot
folk.
of people.
My first migraine happened when I was 13 years old. I remember it so specifically because I was walking from my house to my girlfriend's house. It was after school, and I got this banger on the side of my head.
Just instant.
Instant. It was like somebody had taken a hatchet and stuck it, you know, in the side of my head.
You're nodding.
And I had to sit down on the curb. I mean, I remember not being able to breathe, not being able to see. I'm seeing these spots. I didn't know what was going
What do you
on.
think
I
was
got
happening?
really scared. I thought I had a brain tumor. I mean, this is what goes through your head. You say, it's not a headache. It's like something's wrong with me. I have a brain tumor. I'm going to die. Something really awful is happening to me right now. And if I sit down, maybe I won't get up.
Cindy's nodding.
I thought, yeah, Susan.
Susan.
Oh, yeah,
Susan's nodding because, well, for Susan, it's you know, it's unlike Susan because you started, as I heard you before saying, as a child.
Yes, and we knew what it
11.
was, which is unusual because it doesn't display the same characteristics when you're a child.
And what I have learned is, though, most commonly it starts for a lot of girls when they hit the teenage years, because it's affected by the menstrual cycle and changes in estrogen levels, et cetera, et cetera. So for a lot of girls, you don't know until you're 13, 14, 15. That's about when it starts to surface.
So I guess you'd think at first it's just a regular headache, and you try to take a couple of aspirin or something, and it doesn't go away.
Well, you know, there are all kinds of migraines. Now, if you're going to get a banger, you know it's not a regular
banger?
headache.
Okay.
Yeah, a banger. But there are all kinds of migraines. I
Yeah.
mean, there's migraines that you can get from like driving, for example, me driving into the light. I drive into the sun when I go. The sun's like coming up in the morning, and usually when I come home at night, it's going down. So some things I have learned
You have
is,
to be
keep
careful
the
of.
glasses, be careful, because you can get from that as well. There are things that trigger. When I was
bit.
on birth control, you know, I later learned that was affecting it.
Wow.
Certain foods you begin to learn. It's like migraine, you know your migraine.
Now, has this interfered with your work? Did it go through a period of time where it hampered you from being able to do the things you needed to do?
It did in many ways. It did absolutely physically. I mean, there was one day when I was on the set, and I remember calling my producer, Gloria Monti. We used to tape at 4 o'clock. And I remember getting one and calling her in her office and saying, Gloria, I'll come to notes. Can I just have a few minutes? I just need to take something lying down because I've got a really bad headache. And within 10 minutes, they're like banging on my door. What's the matter? Is this a contract thing? Is it a negotiation? Are you unhappy? You know, like, and
You
no,
could've
I
gotten
really just have a
should've
headache.
said
I need a minute.
As a matter of fact.
But there's this stigma. There's this stigma, and I think there
Yes.
has been for a long time, because a lot of people who've never had a migraine or don't know what they are or have never discussed it with someone don't realize that it is a very definite, it's a constriction of blood flow. It really is true. It's not, shouldn't be the butt of PMS jokes or,
Right.
oh, honey, not tonight, I've got a headache. All the kinds of things that come out as a result
Oh, but
of
it's so irritating.
What I wanted to ask you is, you were getting into just a bit of how a migraine really works, how it really comes about. You said something about constriction of blood vessels. What is the physiology of a migraine?
Well, probably it's best for the doctor to describe that, but I can give you the symptoms.
Yeah.
And for everybody, it's different. For some people, they'll see zigzag lines. For some people, it'll start to be lights flashing. For some people, it's like that, like for me, on the side of the head, it would
Instant.
start with the pain.
Right.
I didn't get the warnings with the light. Some people, it's nausea.
Yes.
Some people actually feel like they're going to get sick. That's happened to me the first time I ever got one, and then it would happen actually quite often until like the last 10 years. Now that's tapered off.
Jackie, how do you relieve your headaches? What do you do for it? Or what did you do? Or is it a non-issue in your life
Well,
now?
it's funny that because my connection with the Excedrin people is because I had been taking Excedrin from the time, it's for 20 years I was taking it, and it was before they had the FDA approval to say it was for migraines, but I knew it worked. So I would take it before, and I found if I would take it like 15, 20 minutes before, as soon as I would start to get that feeling, I would start feeling this or seeing this, boom, take it, and it would knock it out for me. It would help a lot.
would help
I mean,
a
it
lot.
would minimize it to the point where it'd feel more like a normal headache than something that would keep me from doing what I would have to do, which
To
is,
get it to a normal headache.
well, yeah.
Well, thank you. When we come back, we're going to meet Dr. Stephen Graf Radford, a well-respected migraine specialist, who's going to tell us what's happening physically in your body when a migraine happens, and what kind of relief is on the horizon through research that is going on right now. All that when Lifestyle magazine continues.
Hello.
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 We're back, and I want you to help me welcome Dr. Stephen Graf Radford.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. Radford, you are actually a dentist.
Yes, and I don't inflict pain, I try and relieve it.
I don't know. Now, how did you get into headaches, being a dentist?
Well, I do what's called head and neck pain management, and it's a multidisciplinary program where different specialists treat different pains. And as a dentist, we treat pain in the distribution of the trigeminal nerve, which is the sensory nerve of the face. And headache is mediated or described as being part of the trigeminal nervous system.
How do we know the difference? I mean, so let's say I have a headache. How do I know I'm not coming down with this terrible problem, migraines? I mean,
well, there are specific criteria that have been defined by the International Headache Society for classification of these different headaches. So broadly speaking, you have primary headaches and secondary headaches. The primary headaches, what we're talking about, is migraine, tension type headache, and cluster headache. And then the secondary headaches are the ones we worry about. Those are the brain tumors and the bleed in the brain and things like that. So the warning is to have patients realize that if they have their first headache ever, their worst headache ever, or a significant change in the headache, they should have clearly medical attention immediately.
Oh, okay. Now, they had different symptoms, sort of, kind of, but is the same thing going on in the head? What's going on in the head?
The same thing is going on just about for all different kinds of headache, but it presents differently. And what happens in the brain right now is there's an area right in the middle of the brain we call the brainstem, and that becomes active. It's like, they call it the migraine generator. So it creates a response which releases little chemicals around the blood vessels in the brain. And those chemicals initially cause a vasodilatation.
So say what is vasodilatation?
It's an enlargement of the blood vessels.
Of the blood vessels.
And as those blood vessels enlarge, there's a release of little chemicals called neuropeptides. And they release the chemicals, they bind to this trigeminal nerve I mentioned earlier, the sensory nerve, and then it conducts the pain back to the brain.
So that's the axe.
That's when you get whacked on the head.
The axe,
Now,
connecting.
prior to this migraine generator being active, you might have, in about 10% of people, an aura, which is the visual disturbance. And that is actually an electrical discharge of the brain. Almost like it starts in the back of the head and it slowly depolarizes from the back of the head forward, marches very, very slowly forward, and then we see that lasting about 30 minutes to an hour, and then it
I've had
moves
this
into the
little
head.
thing in my eye that it looks like you're looking at Ripley water, and then it will get bigger and bigger, and it takes about 10 minutes, and then it's gone, and then I have a little headache.
That's an aura.
Did you know what it was?
No.
Until now. You just discovered what it is just now?
now you know.
And I'm
But
not
I
even
did-
going to charge
And I had
you.
just a little headache, though. I didn't have a terrible headache.
Amazing.
What's that?
So
what
am
do you
I
call it?
going to get worse ones?
No, you'll never get worse.
No,
Definitely
that
not.
what I had is it?
Well, you never can tell. Migraine, as you know, is genetic, and so we're predisposed to all sorts of different things. And if you take good care of yourself and you exercise regularly, sleep well, eat well, in all likelihood, you'll still
And
be
work
okay.
with Clifton.
That's right.
Now,
I
you
mean,
know so much. It sounds like they have come up with so much about what's going on.
What's
You
really
must be able to treat this awfully well
Yes,
now.
what's really exciting is that in the last 10 years, there's been a rapid expansion of information about headache, and there's been the development of this class of drugs called the triptans. And these are drugs that bind to a receptor right where the blood vessel and the nerve is and stop the release of those little chemicals that I told you irritate and sensitize the nerve.
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
are prescription
So those are people who are
medications.
doctors.
But now,
Right.
should Jackie, you just take Excedrin?
Well,
Should
It's
you just
over the
start
counter
there?
approved. Well,
should you just, should
don't
that be
you
where you
think
start?
someone would start there?
I'll tell you
Don't
how
take
I
too
like to
much.
approach it. Traditionally, doctors do what's called step care. You have to take this, and if that doesn't work, you go to that, and if that doesn't work, you go to this. Now, my feeling is, if this doesn't work, why do you have to go up the step? Then just give them this at the beginning. But if this works, the bottom of the step works, definitely use it. Okay? The caution I have for that is over-the-counter medications taken more than 2 days per week on a regular basis will result in a rebound headache.
Wow.
So you don't want people just treating themselves. If headache is frequent, more than 2 days a week, you want to consult your doctor.
Oh, for sure. Well, that's so much.
It
Can you
occurs
imagine?
in a lot of young girls and women. Is that tied to the hormone estrogen.
Yes, as you see, as has been described, 12 and 14 about their headache started. And it's equal below the age of 12 males and females, the frequency. And then at 12, it definitely becomes much greater in women. They peak at around age 40 and then they decrease, and postmenopausally, headache reduces dramatically.
Although there are also always exceptions to the rule, such as the woman who never had migraines until she begins going through the change of life.
And I have only mentioned, of course, the abortive therapies, but there are lots of preventative therapies. You know,
We'll get to that soon as we get back, because that's what we need to go out on. We need to find out what about prevention when it comes to a migraine headache.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Wrap this up.
Learning English may be the biggest factor in the jobs you can get and the money you can earn. Hi, I'm Michelle, and I want to tell you about Hello Channel, an exciting new channel that teaches you English as you're watching TV. As you watch Hello Channel, you'll see, read, hear, and speak English, and before you know it, you'll be on your way to a better job and a brighter future. All you have to do is say hello.
Welcome back. Dr. Graf Radford, tell us some of those preventive measures that you began to explain before we broke away.
I think first of all is to look at the triggers, you know, the foods, tyramines, MSG, aspartame, caffeine, all should be taken away and withdrawn, sometimes alcohol.
Chocolate and cheeses. You have to say those because most people love chocolate.
Anything that tastes good.
Yeah, and hot dogs.
Don't eat that and you can avoid your
Processed
migraine.
foods, yeah.
And then you want to certainly treat early as you can. And if you're having more frequent headache, more than twice a week, you want to go to preventative migraine drugs. The most important thing is migraine is a real disorder. You know, I really
That's what
Yes.
Susan was saying to us earlier. Last thought.
Well, so often the people are misunderstood. You're told it's all in your head, which, yes, the pain is in your head, but, you know, take it seriously. Take yourself seriously. Get to a doctor, and don't listen to those people that don't understand.
And I want to thank all of our guests, huh, Tammy?
Yes.
We had a great show
Great.
today. We got Susan Olson, Jackie Zeman, Dr. Graf Radford, and you. And don't forget to log on to www.lifestyle.org in order to get links to all the information you see on the show. Thanks, Tammy.
Thank you.
See you next time on Lifestyle Magazine.